So, hello everyone. Welcome again to the Women@Tech live session. Women@Tech is a professional platform aimed to help women achieve their dream careers, and we conduct live sessions, have podcasts, and blogs across our online platforms. You can also find us on social media platforms across LinkedIn, Instagram, etc. So today we are very happy to welcome Deepthi Abraham. Abraham is an inner leadership coach and an ICF-credentialed ACC coach. And thank you, Deepthi, for joining us today on our live session. And she currently holds a Btech degree and MBA, as well as she is a proud mom of 2 kids. Yeah, we are very happy to welcome her to present our current live session on the topic mindfulness for women in tech. And I would hand it over to Deepthi now to share more about herself and continue with the session.
So, thank you for the introduction. So, a little bit about me. I'm an inner leadership coach. I'm an ICF ACC credential coach. What I do is I partner with people, help them become better versions of themselves by harnessing their inner power. So, what has drawn me to mindfulness is the simple fact that when we need to control our lives and to become better versions of ourselves, the first step is to become aware of ourselves and the patterns that we are operating out of. And mindfulness is a very good tool to do that, increase our awareness. The philosophy that I work on can be summarized with this quote from the book Immunity to Change, which says if you're leading anything at any level, you're driving some kind of plan or agenda. But some kind of plan or agenda is also driving you. It is out of your awareness. And most of the time, limit or even doom your ability to deliver extraordinary results. And when I say this, is there anything about this that resonates or brings up thoughts within you?
Like in our daily life, we have goals for ourselves, and what I understand is that yes, we are all working towards a certain goal that we have set.
Thank you so much, Mansa, for answering. Going forward, the rest of the session will kind of help us understand this quote better, actually. So, what I'll be doing is I'll be taking you through the concept of mindfulness in connection with how our mind works, why mindfulness is important for us to become better versions of ourselves, and a small technique that you can use, one or two techniques that you can use in day-to-day life to help you become more mindful, to take more control of your life. So I'd like to start with a simple exercise where we're trying to connect to our body. So I hope it's not a meditation as such. It's just a simple exercise where I'll be asking you to close your eyes and just focus on a few things. So I hope everyone is okay with this. So please go ahead and close your eyes and just follow your breath. Focus on your breath, the normal breathing, where you feel the breath come in and out of your body. Just focus on where it goes in your body. Does it go all the way to your stomach? Does it go till the toes of your feet, your fingertips? How does your breathing feel? Does it feel shallow, heavy, fast, slow? Just become aware of how your breath is in your body. And now notice the sensations on your skin. Is your skin feeling hot or cold? Can you feel the breeze in the air on your skin? How do your clothes feel on your body? How's the texture of the cloth on your skin? And where your body touches the floor or the chair that you're sitting on. How do those contact points feel? Just bring your awareness to the soles of your feet if they are touching the floor or the table, and just be in that particular sensation. And now slowly notice if there are any smells in the present, in the atmosphere around you. Pleasant smells, unpleasant smells. And now just notice the sounds around you. Can you hear the air conditioner, the fan? Is there a clock ticking? Any vehicles, birds? So now I'd like to ask you to come back to the present moment and open your eyes whenever you're ready. I wonder how this exercise felt in your body. Do you feel any changes, any differences? This is a simple exercise with which we can connect to our body. And this is actually important because so this is something that we should keep in mind. I'll be going back to this exercise again and again throughout the session. It'll kind of help you understand why this is a very important exercise to help us become more mindful. Now, when we talk about mindfulness, what does it mean? If anyone wants to type in the chat, they can. What does mindfulness mean to you?
A state of consciousness you have in the current moment. That's all.
Right. Right, Varnika, right. Gayatri, it is being present in the present moment. And the easiest way, or the question would be, how will we to be aware of our actions? You're right. So the easiest way to be mindful, there are two steps to it. The first step is by connecting with our body. The exercise we just did is something that helps us connect with our body. And when we're talking about being connected to our body, we are saying we are aware of it, aware of what's happening in our body, but we are not attached to it. And the second reason why it's the easiest gateway is because our mind may go to our past, it can go to the future, it can travel everywhere. But no matter where the mind is, the body only ever lives in the present. So, yeah. So, if we need to be mindful, the first easiest gateway is by connecting to our body. Now, all of this will build up slowly. So, you'll kind of understand why I'm taking you through these steps. And the second reason why connecting with our body is the easiest gateway to mindfulness is because we can connect fully either with our mind or with our body, but not both at the same time. So when we did that exercise right now, we were in our body. We were feeling the sensations in our body, and we were completely cut off from our mind. And when I say mind, I mean the different thoughts, different patterns which are there in our mind. So this is the reason connecting with our body is the easiest gateway. And while this is the first step, the second step to be becoming mindful, being present in the present moment, is by mastering our minds. And again, we're talking about being connected to our mind, being aware of how it works, how the autopilot reflex of our mind works, and being detached from it. So, how to manually override the autopilot reflex and how to understand it but not be pulled in towards our mind, to kind of become masters of our mind and masters of our body so that we can choose how we operate or we show up in that moment. So I'll be going ahead and talking about how the mind works. This whole The reason why we need to learn this is because we kind of will understand what mindfulness means with respect to how our mind works. Now, when we are born with two drives. One drive is a drive to be authentic. The second is a survival drive. Now, when we're talking about being an authentic self, we're talking about our inner self. We have core beliefs, values, needs, and wants. And then when we're talking about a survival drive, our normal, natural state of being is flow. Other than that, we have five survival reflexes that helps us manage situations, manage the unknown. So I think you'd already be familiar with this, with the five survival reflexes. You might have heard it in many other places, but I'm going to go ahead and give you a very small description of each so that you'll understand it a little bit more. So one is flight, where we're trying to escape from the situation by avoiding a person, leaving a meeting, uh, by running away, pretty much. Okay. The second is the fight reflex, where we confront or we push back, and that's when we get angry, uh, we get defensive, we get judgmental. All of these are fight responses. Then we have the fawn response. This is where we appease or try to please another person, where we end up over apologizing, over accommodating, and we put our needs below the other person's. The fourth one is the freeze, where we are stuck in the moment. We are not able to act, like going blank during a presentation. The last one is faint, where we are actually, our complete system just shuts down and we disassociate ourselves from whatever is happening. Sometimes the disassociation can be from an emotional trauma, can be from mental trauma, or any memory. We forget memories. We may disassociate ourselves from emotions. It can be from logic also. So these are all survival mechanisms. And while we might do the same thing when we are in the flow state, the difference is when you're in the flow state, your body feels light. So even when you're being angry about something, or when you're apologizing to someone or putting someone else's needs, your body feels light. But when you're in a survival reflex, your body feels heavy. It feels different. It does not feel natural. So that is a easy way of identifying whether you're in a your action is from a survival reflex or from the flow reflex. Now, most of the time, when as we grow, right, we have a lot of experiences that happen, and these pathways become, say, if we were born with about 10 of them, it becomes hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. And all of this is created by the narrative that we tell ourselves. So, uh, currently, the way we react to certain things is because of the narrative that we tell ourselves, and the survival reflex pathway, which is activated. Now, this also, like, for example, if suppose you see a snake, what is your reaction? You see a dog, you see a person shouting, you see a child crying. There, different people react differently because of the life experiences that they have, and this is because of a narrative that they're saying, that they're telling themselves. Now, this whole thing together, this is our protective system. This is what keeps us surviving every moment of our life. So it's also called the ego. If you go into the esoteric, version, and how it protects us is by changing these pathways into an emotion. So what we feel at our most subconscious level would be an emotion, and that emotions are the purest messages that our inner selves give us and our bodies. And these emotions can get converted into feelings or sensations, creating the mood that we have. And this is then shown as behavior in the external world. Now, most of this is unconscious and only a little of this is conscious. So, most of what we are talking about is unconscious. It's under the iceberg. Only the thoughts, the external action, and a few thoughts that are in your mind, and sometimes even emotions to an extent, emotions, feelings, sensations, if to an extent, is something that we are conscious about. Rest of it, the actual working, is in the subconscious or the unconscious. So, what happens is now how we react or how we interact with the external world is uh, we take everything into sensory inputs. So, what we see, what we hear, what we feel, what we taste, what we touch, all this is information that is bombarded in our brains, into our into our body, into our brains, which then gets filtered in this protective by the protective system, and therefore there are reflex patterns. Even flow, there are reflex patterns. So all of this is reflex. So if you see a cup of tea, if you like tea, you may take it and drink it. It's still flow. It's still a reflex pattern. Okay, or brushing your teeth or driving. All of these, there are flow and there are survival mechanisms. All of them are reflex because our brain prefers to work on pre-programmed pathways, then create a new pathway every time. That takes a lot of energy. So most of the time when we are showing up in the world, we are showing up in a reflexive mode of ourselves. We are showing up with old stories that we have told ourselves. And the reason why this is important to understand is because if you want to understand what mindfulness does, we need to understand this framework. Now, is there a way that we can escape from this reflex action? There's actually a space in between our sensory inputs and the trigger to start a reflexive action. There's actually a space here of power and choice between the stimulus and the response, where we can actually shift the control to ourselves. Now, when you're talking about sensory inputs, the exercise that we did is also the same. We are taking in sensory inputs, what are happening around us. So, in this space, this is where, when we are being in the space, is when we are saying we are being mindful. We are being present in the present moment. And for most of us, this space is actually a millisecond of a fraction of a second. And as we practice mindfulness techniques, as we, slowly connect to our bodies, and as we detach from our minds, this space becomes bigger and bigger, and we are able to actually make choices which are backed by our autonomy, backed by power, backed by what we actually want to do. So, mindfulness or that space is an anchor. It helps us uh, navigate the world in a more independent, in a more autonomous, in a more powerful way, because we are not attached. We are connected but not attached to our body and its wants. We are connected but not attached to our mind and its patterns, its narratives. And we are connected but not attached to the external events, which makes us really powerful, because the only ones who are controlling us are ourselves. And this is what gives us the belief that we can change reality. And it is in this space that we can actually change our realities. Uh, so, if we are able to start, working from this particular space every day, the more number of moments, more percentage of time, it becomes easier for us to be more mindful, uh, to start choosing how we show up, to start building the lives that we want. Mm. And to stop feeling less in control, to stop feeling like life happens to us instead of happening through us. So I'll be giving you two techniques. One, a shorter version of the same technique, and one is a longer version. Now, what the shorter version will do is it kind of helps you just shift the control to yourself by calming the mind and then taking control so you can shift the narrative. And the other version kind of helps you understand why you are feeling what you're feeling, and then helps shift the narrative or shift the power in your hands. Now, I would always recommend doing the longer version because even if we are mindful, even if we are working on this particular, I mean, from this particular space and shifting the control towards our conscious self, what happens is all of this which is here is still working. It is still functioning unless we detangle everything that we have learned through our life experiences and recode what we have learned into things that are patterns that will empower us instead of disempowering us. Most of the time, when we work from any of the survival reflexes, we are disempowering ourselves. And when we change any of the survival reflex into a flow reflex, we are actually empowering ourselves. So, so I'll just take you through the technique. It's called reset. So, anytime you're emotionally overwhelmed or mentally overwhelmed, or when you're having a very hectic day, and you just want to clear your cache, right? You just want to start with a new moment. What we'll be doing is this particular technique will kind of help you. So, in any relationship, right, with any person, you can, the first thing, if you want them to listen to you, you have to listen to them. You have to acknowledge what you're going through. You have to say, okay, yes, I understand where you're coming from. And like how a doctor listens to a patient and says it's completely normal what you're going through, the same sort of acknowledgement, acceptance is something that we need to give our mind before we change it into wherever we want it to go to. So, first is first of this is recognize. First step is recognize. That is recognize what you're feeling. Like, for example, if you have gone through a very hectic day, just tell yourself very clearly, maybe either verbally or non-verbally, in your mind or outside. I just went through a draining day or a draining situation, and I feel angry, or I feel overwhelmed, or I feel anxious. Now, when you're clearly stating what you're feeling, your mind is also listening to you, your body is also listening to you, and everything that you say, it becomes very clear. Like, verbalizing what you feel makes it easier for you to let go of something. Labeling what you feel makes it easier to release something that you're holding. So the first step is to recognize what you're feeling. Second is to embrace it. To say, yes, I feel this way and it's completely okay that I feel this way. I accept these feelings and I accept this version of myself. To say, yes, it's completely fine. And third is to soothe yourself. That is, sometimes we need an extra bit of consolation or comfort. It can be by sipping water, maybe stretching, or placing a hand on your heart, sometimes even just patting your own arm and saying it's okay, it'll be okay, right? So once this is done, the next is to exhale and release. Next step. So again, this is a breathing exercise. The reason why uh, we use breathing as a technique to release is because we actually are exhaling out the breath from our body, and then we actually give intention for every breath that is being exhaled and every breath that is inhaled. Our mind and our body, they listen, it listens to us. So with the first breath, we connect to our body, just like how we did in the exercise, where we just follow our breath, see what our normal breathing pattern style is, see where the breath goes, and slowly settle into our body. Then we take three deep breaths. You want to go more than three, that's fine. But three deep breaths, where with every exhale, we are letting go of the moment that has passed. And we say, I let go of what no longer serves me. And with every inhale, we are saying, we're going back to our center. We're telling our nervous system that it is all right. What we, all the running that we did in the day, or all the emotional, burden that we took, it is all done. I no longer have to do that anymore. I am resetting, or I'm coming back to my center. And the last one is to transform. Now, once you feel sufficiently calm, sufficiently centered, the last is where we use the last breath to say, okay, this moment is fresh and I choose how I show up. Now, when we do this, what happens is we are changing how we are showing up. So, for any difference or any change that needs to happen to us, the first is to accept who we were in the moment and what we are feeling. Second is to embrace it and say it is completely fine, that I don't mind the way I showed up. In fact, I completely understand the way I showed up. Sometimes it becomes very difficult for us, uh, when we make mistakes, uh, or there are things that we regret. I wish I did not do that, right? The easiest way to release that from your body is to accept that, based on what information I had, based on the state I was in, based on whatever was the situation, I did the best that I could. And to accept that version of yourself and then release it. And then say, okay, now I'm showing up as a new person in this new moment. To know that we have that power to change, to transform. That is actually one of the key points that this reset technique uses. And this is a short version. And as you keep practicing this, right, your body gets used to being suited or being transformed or changed in this particular way, and it slowly starts accepting. If you even go ahead and say, tell it one or two sentences instead of the whole thing, you can go ahead and say, I let go of what no longer serves me. Yes, it is fine. I was like that. If you start talking to your body and your mind in that way, it actually brings down the amount of time it takes for you to soothe and to transform yourself, or to uh, have a choice in how you are showing up in the next moment. Sorry. And the next one is the longer version of this, where in the reset, the recognize step, we'll be going into a little deeper. And I'd like it if you will all work with me on that. I'd like you to take a situation where something that bothers you. It can be something uh, where you're angry, anxious. It can be something where you're sad about, any situation that's bothering you. And we'll work this out together. Okay. So, going back, the first step, what we'll be doing is, if you remember the framework, first thing is to kind of distance ourselves from our mind. And the easiest way to do that is to connect to our body. So, first we'll be looking into sensory inputs, then we'll be looking into what our body is feeling, and then we will go to our mind. So, the first step of this is the sensory data. So, what we'll be doing is that particular situation that you have at hand, imagine watching that particular moment as a third person from outside a window. And you can write what you saw, what you saw as a third person, what is happening. Okay, what's happening there? What have you heard? What you felt physically, without adding any extra meaning to it. Like, for example, if suppose what made you anxious was seeing a dog barking, for example. So what you saw, you'll be writing like, I saw a dog barking. It was dark. What were the sensations on my? It was a dark night. There was no one around. The dog, yeah. So things like that, which kind of helps you pull in the sensory inputs of what you were feeling or what you were seeing at the time. And then we'll be moving into the next step. where we'll be exploring the body signals. That is, within your body, what's the sensations that you're feeling? Is your body feeling tensed? Was there warmth, heaviness? Are there any emotions inside your body that you could feel during that time? And label the emotions. And the third one is where we'll be looking at the thoughts. So, for example, if I was someone who's afraid of a dog and I saw a dog barking, the thought that might be in my head is, oh, it's going to come and bite me. Or it could be that, that looks very ferocious. So, all the thoughts that you were thinking of in that particular moment, just write all of this down. So, the sensory inputs, your body signals, the sensations, the emotions, and any feelings that you have, and then your thoughts and every thought that comes in. If so that you're clearing all of this out from your system as you're writing it. So we'll go ahead with the next part of this, which is where we'll be asking ourselves, what about this is truly making me feel this way? What is the narrative that I'm telling myself, or what is the experience that is coming up, or the memory that is attached to this? What about this is truly making me feel this way? And then the question will be, is it actually true? Like, for example, by looking at the dog, the thought might be, or what truly makes me feel this way is, this dog is going to bite me, or all dogs are going to bite me because of some particular thing that happened in my childhood. The next question will be, is it really true? It may not be, right? There's no right or wrong about it. What we're trying to do is logically figure out, is this something that is actually true, or are we have we kind of twisted the narrative in our head in such a way that it has triggered a survival mechanism? Now we are going to do the rest of the reset, where we are embracing ourselves in that version of ourselves, where we are telling ourselves it's okay that I feel this way. There's a reason for it, and I accept these feelings and this version of ourselves. You can tell it out aloud. You can hug yourself while telling it, or you can pat yourself while telling it. That's the next suit, right? Uh, but what we're trying to do with this step is to ensure that we feel accepted by ourselves. We are normalizing what is happening, and we are saying, yes, this is completely normal for me to feel this way, given what I have gone through, or uh, given what has happened. Soothing yourself, that is, if you still need more soothing, uh, just take a sip of water, or you can just pat your arm, saying it's okay. But again, what you're doing is calming down your nervous system, calming down your mind, telling your mind that it's okay, it's over. And then we go ahead and do the breathing exercise, exhaling it, and creating a new, we'll be creating a new intent, but it's a little different from the other reset. So I'd like to go ahead and ask you to go take a few breaths and connect your normal breath inside your body and follow it. Try and see how it feels inside your body. See where it is going. And what you're doing is you're kind of ensuring that your focus stays in your breath and in your body and not in your mind. This helps you kind of detach yourself more from your mind, so you can see what is happening in a little more uninvolved manner, and you can also let go easily. So once you're done with the first few breaths of connecting to your body, with every inhale, go ahead and tell yourself in your mind or outside, it is okay, I am all right, I return to my center. And with every exhale, let yourself feel that that moment is over, and I can let go of what no longer serves me. I'm letting go of the emotions, of the thoughts that do not serve me. I'm letting go of the questions that are in my mind that do not serve me. I'm letting go of the doubts that do not serve me. However, so this is just a template that I'm giving you. You can actually customize it based on your actual need. And every time you breathe in, just say, I'm returning back to my center. I'm returning to stillness. I'm returning to calm, to peace. I'm returning to myself. And the last one is where we transform. Here we ask ourselves, in that particular situation, given what has happened, and we have let go, what do I want to make happen here instead? This is the point where we recreate our reality or we start shaping our intention so that we can start creating a reality that serves us, that empowers us. So I'll go ahead with the next question, which is how can I make it happen? Now, every intention that you set, we have to combine it with an action to make it a reality. So, what you want to make happen here instead, the trigger to making it a reality is the action. Sometimes we may say we don't have a choice, but in saying that as well, we are making a choice. So any place where we say I can't do, it is I can't do right now. It is not I can't do in 1 week because we don't know what our future holds. So if we look at our constraints as our temporary constraints or constraints of the moment, and we say, how can I make it happen? I can't make it happen right now, but I can make it happen in the future. So I can't yet. Right? So our future is very long. The moments keep changing, and our intention and the actions that we take towards that intention is what kind of shapes our reality. So even though it may feel like for some situations may feel like no, I can't make anything happen right now. Accepting that, saying okay, I cannot make anything happen right now, but maybe later I can, and bringing in more choice, more freedom, more autonomy, so that you're always empowered. That is what makes the difference. Because you may not be able to make it happen today, but you will be able to make it happen someday. So, not closing that door on that possibility that it can happen someday.
I have a question. So,
Go ahead.
yeah. So, making it happen here more relates to the emotion or it is to the action? What is
Action.
it? Action. Okay.
Yeah, action, it can be a mind. So the action doesn't have to be external, the action can be internal as well. For example, imagine I'm just going to take the same example of the dog to say that, next time I see a dog, even though I may freeze, I will, try and bring down my anxiety level. I will keep telling myself, all dogs do not bite, for example. It's a very small action. There's nothing outside. There's nothing external, but slowly changing my mindset, right? Changing that particular pattern. That is also an action. So when I say action, it doesn't have to be external.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. Okay. So this is how the reset technique works. Just a longer version, which I would always recommend because you are little by little, working on the pattern that brings out or working on the messages that your inner self or your protective system is giving you. And by working on it, you can actually start changing it according to how you want, in a way that ensures that you are showing up in your natural, authentic self at many more moments than in some moments. So I'll go ahead and I'd like to close this by saying the session by saying between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom. This is a quote by Viktor Frankl.
So, first of all, I'd like to thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you for taking your time to, showcase, give a brief overview of the mindfulness and tech.